Good morning, friends. I'm here. I'm Santosh. I'm here to introduce Hani sir to you all. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Santosh.
I'll just introduce and
Yes.
give. It's my privilege to introduce Hani sir to you all, and I hope he has already been introduced to you all in the inauguration session and even yesterday's class. But still, as per the formalities, I'm here to introduce him. He is a BCom, CS, LLB, CA, and is a young and energetic faculty of CAPS, a very good friend of Shetty sir throughout CA career, and a wonderful student, great gentleman, and a very good teacher of accounts and costing also, apart from GST. National level GST speaker, as everyone are aware of it. So you are 100%. I assure you that you are going to enjoy his class throughout group two classes, and the way he crack jokes and the way he connects to topic to practical examples is amazing. I hope everyone will enjoy his classes throughout your CA journey of group two. So welcome you, sir, on behalf of CAPS, Shetty sir, and all of you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Santosh. Yes, guys, can you switch on your videos because I can see only a few of them. It's very difficult to speak to laptop. It is easy to speak to people. Yes, I'll wait for few more of our friends are not switched on our videos. Yes. Ashish, Krishma, Aditi, Kantraj,
Yes,
Vidya. Ashish, next class on, have bath before you attend the class so that you know that you have to switch on the video. Today excuse, so you can switch on. We will not comment on how you look. Okay, you're looking okay only. Fair and handsome, huh? No. Oh, fair and lovely still. Hey, boss, changed? No. Now to specific for you only they have released. Grishma madam, we are waiting for you. Kantraj, we are waiting for you. A few of us, all of us can switch on our videos and let this be a little interactive class. Okay. Still they feel shy and are still not comfortable. We'll start our class. Quite a few known faces. Correct, no? Vidya is new. Anshuman is new. Prasad, Krishna. These few are new faces. Otherwise, everybody is known. Nice. Okay. Okay. So already it's 7 o'clock and it feels like it's 8:39 in Bangalore. Very bad situation.
good morning, sir.
Good morning. Who's that? Deepa.
Yes, sir.
A black screen. How is it possible? Profile picture only on black wall you took. Okay. Now it's perfect. Right. Now we can see a photo. Right. Okay. So a nice cozy class. It is very easy to ask questions. It is very easy to interact with each other. So at any point in time you have any doubt, please feel free to interrupt me and raise your hand and ask question. Okay. Also ensure that you don't miss the class because I will feel really very bad because we are able to fit ourselves in one screen. Okay. Now if you don't attend, then I'll feel something is wrong. I'll start thinking, okay, am I doing a good job, not doing a good job? Don't put me in that guilt trip, right? Okay. I'll try as much as possible to ensure that the class is interesting and interactive. There'll be so you can take the CAPS notes. It will be given to you in a couple of days. Okay. Till then, if you think there is something which is interesting and important, then have a piece of paper with you and keep writing those important points. Okay, it's really very important for us because see, CA Institute is quite a beautiful book. Okay, and when I say beautiful now, definitely it is beautiful. In our days, it was only a black and white book. Okay, now you find so many colors. That many colors you'll not find in aquarium also. Okay, that many colors are there in CA Institute book now. Okay, so it is quite comprehensive. But the point is, when you're attending classes, you would have understood a particular topic in a particular way. Okay, so to recall that topic or to recall the background behind it, whatever you have learned in class, you should make a note of it. So when you're reading that point in the CA Institute material, you will be able to recollect the discussion which you've had in the class, and so you will be able to understand the concept a little better. That's the only idea. Otherwise, there's nothing else required to be written. Right? Can we start? Okay. So we are, of course, talking about GST. What is GST?
Goods and Services Tax.
Goods and Services Tax. Very good. When I was giving my first presentation on GST, the CA, I think one of the CA's office I was giving. So he is a hardcore income tax guy. Okay, he does not understand VAT, he does not understand excise, he does not understand GST. He said, "Why don't you take a session for my clients and for my staff for GST?" So I prepared my presentation with lot of animation, this, that, everything. I prepared 1 hour session. I was really very excited. He said, "Can you just share it with me? I just want to have a look at it if everything is okay or not. Okay. And if there is any edit, I will edit it and then send it back to you." And I was wondering, what will he edit? I have been talking about GST to everybody. Institute has been calling me everywhere, and I have been going here, there. What change can he do for the presentation which I am preparing? So overconfidence. I said, okay, let him see. So I sent it to him. He did not change anything. Only one change. You know what he did? On the cover page of the presentation, I had written goods and service tax. But actually, if you look at it, it is goods and services tax. That one mistake, that's all. And even now, whenever I remember the full form of GST, I am reminded of that example. I am reminded of that instance where I had not written services, I had written service. It's a plural. It is goods, which is plural. It is services, which is plural. Okay. So we are talking about goods and services tax. Clear? So before we get into what do you mean by goods, what do you mean by services, let's get into, and guys who have attended the earlier classes might be able to recall a little bit of this. Taxes are of two kinds, correct? No? What are those taxes? There are direct taxes and there are indirect taxes. Okay, so guys who have attended the classes
Indirect
already,
tax.
yeah, the guys who have attended the classes should not answer this question. Okay, okay. So what do you mean by direct tax and what do you mean by indirect tax?
Impact and incidence will be same for direct tax.
Okay.
For indirect taxes, impact and incidence will not be same for a particular person.
A little more refined answer if I can get. You are somewhere there, Revati, but somebody else can pick up this and give me a better answer.
Tax burden is another person.
Where?
In case of indirect taxes,
Okay. And in case of direct taxes?
same person.
Same person. Okay, perfect. Can you give me or illustrate the difference between direct taxes and indirect taxes using an example?
So income tax is a direct tax, GST is indirect tax.
So can I say that income tax is a direct tax because if I earn salary, I am only required to pay the tax. So the impact and incidence is on the same person. But in case of GST, if I go and buy something, if I say go and buy a earphone, okay, so the impact is on me because I am required to pay the tax, but the incidence is on the shopkeeper because he is the ultimate person who is going to pay to the government. Is that right? Is my understanding correct?
Yes.
Right. So in income tax, I will get the money and I will pay the tax out of that. In case of GST, I can collect it from somebody and pay it to the government. So the impact and the incidence is on a completely different person, right? Is that correct? Okay. Can you give me some examples of indirect taxes?
Nowadays only GST, earlier it was VAT, CST. Excise duty.
There's no other indirect tax. But
Customs
syllabus
duty,
itself has
state
one more.
excise, central excise.
State excise, central excise. Okay, then
Customs duty.
customs duty. Okay, we will stop at customs duty. Correct, no, Ashish? Correct. Properly have got the answer, which I was waiting for. Okay. Is GST a direct tax or an indirect tax?
Indirect tax.
Indirect tax. Okay. So the rule in my class is that when you tell an answer and nobody objects to it, you cannot change that answer. So any objections, anybody? Is GST a direct tax or indirect tax? No objections. Okay, Anshuman? Okay. Is customs duty a direct tax or indirect tax? No objections. Okay, so it is by way of full majority that you guys have said GST is a indirect tax and customs duty is a indirect tax, and also with full majority you had told that in case of direct tax the impact and incidence is on the same person, and in case of indirect tax the impact and incidence is on the different person. Correct? No? Now these two things you cannot change, right? Okay. No, I'm sure because we are a CA final class, you have little experience about GST. Some of you might have a lot of experience because your firm is working in GST. Some of you might have little experience because of your statutory audits, but there will be some amount of experience. Can you help me understand what do you mean by reverse charge mechanism?
Recipient has to pay the tax.
Recipient
Incidence and tax burden will be on recipient person.
Swaha, no? Whatever you said is wrong. You said GST is an indirect tax. Now you have a case where under reverse charge mechanism, impact and incidence on the same person. So that means Shetty sir has to take this class because it is a direct tax. Correct? No? Okay, let's look at customs duty. Who pays the customs duty?
Purchaser. Importer.
The person who imports. Impact and incidence on the same person. So then how is it an indirect tax?
Isn't it like the liability to pay was supposed to be on the person who is selling, but because he is not in the taxable territory, he is not in India, therefore the government has no way to collect it from them. Therefore, they have fixed the burden on the importer to pay.
Whatever might be the reason, the classical definition of direct tax and indirect taxes has not been satisfied here. Whatever might be the reason. So you know what happened long ago. There was a case, okay? This is a reported case, Chota Bhai Mota Bhai versus Commissioner of Central Excise. I think, okay, it's a very old case. So there, what had happened in one of the cases is, say, assuming there is a product which was liable to tax at the rate of 10%. All right. Now, Finance Minister on the budget day increased the rate of tax from 10% to 15%. Okay, he in his speech said, from tomorrow, the rate of tax on this particular product is increased from 10% to 5%, 15%. And those days there was no, print media that you could just print it and the budget documents were immediately available. It was available everybody on WhatsApp. All the WhatsApp groups are filled with only the, notifications and summary. All the consultants are writing, this is the impact, that is the impact. All that was not there. And unfortunately, the central excise was applicable immediately. Meaning if the budget announced today, then from tomorrow itself, whatever production is there, is liable to tax at a higher rate. Okay, so everybody started paying tax at the rate of 15%. But when the official notification was issued, okay, the rate of tax on that particular product was increased from 10 to 20 and not to 15. But by mistake, when the finance minister was reading it, by mistake, he mentioned it as 15%. Okay, so as soon as the notification was made available, everybody increased the rate of tax from 15 to 20. Clear? So first 15 days, they have charged 10 to 15, meaning 5% extra. And after the 15th day, they have charged 5% more, which is 20%. Now, after 2 years, the excise authorities came for verification and they said, you have paid only 5% extra, but actually for the first 15 days, it was supposed to be 10% extra. So you have short paid the balance 5%. Please pay that along with interest. Okay. So now the trader association said, no, it is the mistake of the finance minister. Why are we being burdened with that additional 5% because of his mistake? So one of the ground which was taken in this case was that, look, excise is an indirect tax. Indirect taxes, the impact and incidence has to be on two different persons. Now, by making the law this way, where I am not enabled to collect the taxes from my customer, you are asking me to pay this tax from my own pocket. And so the impact and incidence is on me. That means that indirect tax you are converting to a direct tax. That means a Hanish is subject, you are converting it to a Shetty is subject. Okay, that is not permissible. And so the demand raised on us is completely illogical and completely illegal, is what was the argument. Okay, the Supreme Court took out the Constitution of India, read the entire Constitution, and said, like Nana Patekar says, no, he takes the blood of Hindus, he takes the blood of Muslim, and he mixes and says, what is the difference you tell? Like that, now Supreme Court took the Constitution and said, boss, you tell me in Constitution, where does it say this is direct tax, this is indirect tax? There is only one schedule under the 7th schedule, which says all these powers are with the central government. In the 7th schedule, first list, that is called the union list, there is income tax on all income other than agricultural income that center will levy, central excise on all goods other than alcoholic liquor for human consumption. That is also there in the central list only. Both the powers are given to the center by the same list, but nowhere it says this is for the purpose of, this is called direct tax, this is indirect tax. Okay. Then they said only for the purpose of the convenience of the chartered accountant students, the bifurcation between direct tax and indirect tax has been made in group 2 of CA final. Otherwise, there is no difference between direct tax and indirect tax. They are a mechanism for government to collect taxes, nothing else. Clear? But for the convenience and from an economic definition, there are two taxes. There are direct tax and indirect tax. But as far as collection is concerned, I am not bothered whether you can collect it from customer or not. What is government bothered about is pay. That's all. Nothing else. Clear? So though we understand GST and customs as indirect tax laws, though we understand income tax as a direct law, but if we look at it from a law perspective, there is no difference. Whether you collect it, you don't collect it, you will have to pay to the government. So you would have seen a lot of cases where, assume say Santosh wants to get married, okay? So he wants to throw a bachelor's party for all of us. Santosh, where? Goa you will throw. So Santosh wants to throw a party in Goa. So there the entry ticket for a party is say 1,500 rupees plus GST. So he says, no, I am coming with all my friends, all my buddies are coming, all my machas and machis are coming. There are some 30-40 people. So you don't charge me 1,500 plus GST. Make it inclusive of GST. Now, the Goa event manager is not collecting GST from us. Can he say, no, I'm not collected from Santosh Papa. He was getting married. He got 30 people also. So he did not pay. Santosh is already married. Krishma.
He's married to Shravan, sir.
Hey, that is illegal, yeah. That all examples we cannot give in class.
Legal.
Grishma, you might know some insider information, but you should not leak. Okay.
It's
So,
true, sir. In Medicare, he married with even Shetty sir is proof for that.
is it? Okay. Don't tell, yeah. These classes will be available online. It is still not illegal in India. Everybody will go behind bars. Okay. Santosh, anyways, congratulations. We were talking about post-marriage bachelor's party, right? Okay. So Now, can that event manager say that, look, he has not paid me GST, so I will not pay you GST? No. Government will say, see, I don't bother whether you have collected GST, whether you have not collected GST. What I am bothered about is pay. That's all. Pay the tax, otherwise I'm going to issue the notice to you. Is this clear? Right? Okay, that is point number one. Now, why I generally start off my class with this example is because, or this particular aspect is because I want to tell you that what you read in IPCC or Inter and what you're going to read in CA final is completely different. It is the same subject, it is the same act, but the aspects which you are going to consider are completely different, and you have to be ready for it. Just look at the question paper of the last 1 year. Okay, last 2 question papers, including the RTPs of CA final. It is advanced level. Even if you ask a member, CA Institute member who has cleared his CA final and who is working on GST, including me, we will have to read the GST book to give the correct answer. Those are the complicated questions which are being asked. So whichever questions members are not able to answer, that are being asked in CA Institute CA final paper, so that they will get majority, minority, and then they will say, okay, majority answer is this. That means this is the wrong answer. Correct? Right? Please be very careful when you're answering, when you're reading, because the finer points are so minute. It is very difficult to distinguish between a right and a wrong answer. Okay, and a lot of, if you see the suggested answers they have written, typically the answer, the student has given this answer. Read all this, read all this, really very important, because you will know where are we lacking, or what is the mistake we are committing. We will think everything correct, sir. In accounts, balance sheet also was telling for the first time in my life. But the way you have presented, the way you have committed, executed an adjustment would be completely wrong. Why will a balance sheet tally? Balance sheet will tally if asset has increased, liability should increase. If asset is reduced, liability should reduce. If one asset has increased, the other asset should reduce. If one liability is increased, other liability should reduce. If you take care of these 4 points, no, whatever you do, the balance sheet will tally. Share capital, you put it as a credit in the profit and loss account, still the balance sheet will tally. So it's not about tallying the balance sheet. It is about how you have presented it, how you have treated a particular adjustment, right? So CA final is going to be a little difficult as far as GST is concerned, because last 2 or 3 batches I've seen the standard is really very high. Not just CA final, the Inter itself is high. So CA final, you can imagine how difficult it is going to be. The only key is to read on a regular basis, and I will keep talking to you about this, and I'm sure till the batch gets over you will not touch the book, and you will feel the heat. Okay, we are feeling the heat now, but you will feel the heat in August, September, October. When the climate is cool, that time you will feel the heat of the subject. Okay, how many of you are writing exams in November 2022? Okay, quite a few of you. And others?
23.
23. Okay, good to start. Basic concepts you remember. If you're not writing exams in November 20, nobody's writing in May 22, no?
I'm writing, sir, in May 22.
Oh, you are champ, da. I don't know how you will manage, but
No, sir.
you are champion.
I am your student, sir, first.
Hey, I know you, boss. That's why you're a champ.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Abhimanyu. Right.
Yes, sir.
Correct. No, right. So, all the best. If you think this classes can add value to you, then you attend, because next 2-3 classes we are only going to do background, what GST, why
Man.
Okay. If you think it is of use, please attend. Otherwise,
surely it will add value, sir.
Okay, much obliged. Right. Okay, you can mute yourself.
Sir, this adjudication authority, sir. Sir, one clarification, sir. Just
unfortunately, I will not take up anything.
No. As far as syllabus is not concerned, syllabus not.
No. You contact me later, Bhimanyu. I'll just drop an email also. I'm sorry, I will not take anything. I have not prepared. I have prepared only limited. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you, Abhimanyu. Your voice is dragging a little. But anything off the topic, I will not be taking it. I'm sorry for that. I will drop my email address in the chat box. Please have a look at it, and you send an email. I will definitely reply to that. But in the class, I have only remembered first chapter 1 of your syllabus. I have no idea other than chapter 1. I prepared only for that. Right? I can always say that I've come prepared only for one chapter. I will not give answers for anything other than that. Okay. Right? Okay. So now let's move a little ahead. When was GST introduced?
1st July 2017.
1st July 2017. Correct. So it is quite a new law because we are still only in 2022. Right? So how many years over? 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 2021. Basically only 4 years. Correct? So it's just a 4-year-old law, and in India, at the once a kid attains 3 to 4 years, that's when he starts going to the school. Not even school, nursery. Correct. So it is in that stage where it is very, very small. Okay. So there are a lot of gaps, and because of those gaps, you will observe that there are a lot of amendments, because as and when government is implementing, they realize that there are so many mistakes which they have, or there are so many situations which they have not envisaged, and they keep amending the law. Okay. Likewise, the taxpayer believes that GST is a good law, but as and when he comes across a lot of situations, he issues letters, or he makes some representations to the industry bodies, and government has been, at least this government has been very proactive in either listening to those recommendations or outrightly rejecting in such a way. Okay, like let me give you an example. Everybody was saying GST audit, how can we complete in such a short time? GST audit, you give us more time. They said, okay, GST audit not required only. Correct. So either they have accepted those recommendations and made appropriate changes, or they have ensured that next time nobody questions. So this time also 9 and 9C, we did not have time at all. Okay, because the financial statements closed only on 15th of February, right? But 9 and 9C had to be filed on 28th of February. Not even one chartered accountant said we want extension. Nobody questioned, because they know that if they ask for extension now, 9 and 9C only, they'll delete it off. Correct. So that's how the government has been functioning. Either they are listening to it completely, or they are just cutting the roots itself. Right? Okay. So the law was introduced on 1st July 2017, and they said, I don't want to levy tax on sale. I don't want to levy tax on manufacture. I don't want to levy tax on import. I don't want to levy tax on a service. What I will levy tax on is a totally new concept, and that will be called supply. Okay, now look at this. When I go to a restaurant, typically South India, okay, and typically I will talk about Karnataka only. Okay, when I go to a restaurant and I ask for food, okay, and he gives me food, okay, that person gives me food. The person who is serving food to me, in English we call waiter, but if I am a typical Kannadiga, what will I tell that person? Supplier. Correct. No, if not, I'm sure there are a lot of words in Kannada, but I'm saying if I am a typical Kannadiga and I want to talk in English, I will say supplier. Correct, no? So supplier means a lot of things. Assuming somebody is serving you water, there's no sale. He's just giving you a glass of water. He's also a supplier because he's supplying water to you. Right? Sale is a very typical term which requires a lot of conditions to be satisfied. Okay, when do you say that a sale has taken place? Revati madam,
When the risk and reward has been transferred.
Excellent. Very good. When the risk and reward associated to a commodity has been transferred from one person to another person for a consideration, there has to be a consideration also. Only then we say a sale has taken place. Okay, assuming I was in a physical class. Okay, we were in a class, we were sitting in a classroom and we were discussing GST. Okay, and now Santosh gives me a marker so that I can use the board and write down something. Okay, when I'm explaining. Okay, now he gives me a marker, he gives me a mic set. Okay, what else will give Santosh? That's all now, and a duster. So he's given me three things. He has given me a mic, he has given me a marker, and he has given me a duster. Okay, can I say he has sold all the three to me?
No, sir.
He
No,
has
sir.
given it to me only for the purpose of use. And after the class, if I take that and go, he will just say, sir, you please keep this all CAPS property. You cannot take it home. Correct, no? So he has only transferred the right to use those products to me, but he has not sold. So it will not be liable to GST. So it will not be liable to VAT because VAT was applicable only on sale. But when you talk about GST, GST is applicable on supply. Has he supplied the duster to me? Yes, he has. Has he supplied the mic set to me? Yes, he has. It can be taxable. I'm not saying it will be taxable because there are other conditions to be satisfied. But the point is it can be taxable. Clear? So supply is a very broad definition. Sale was a very small definition. So the intention of the government has been that they want to levy tax on everything, whatever you can think of, everything they want to levy tax, except any activity covered under Schedule 3. So this is only an overview. I'm just trying to touch different aspects. In detail, we will be discussing about all of this. So only Schedule 3 is not taxable. Everything other than this will be taxable under GST, is what is the idea. Okay. But why was GST introduced is the most fundamental question which we have to ask in the first class today. Why GST? We were happily surviving till 2017. What went so wrong? Or what was the idea behind introducing GST from 1st July 2017? Okay, the idea, can you tell me? We'll take some inputs from you and then I'll build on from there. Why was GST introduced?
There were multiple layers of taxes before this, like excise के ऊपर VAT to like.
So there are two cascading points Anshuman is making here. Point number one, there were so many taxes, and point number two, there were taxes on taxes. Correct? See, earlier you manufacture excise duty, you import customs duty, you sell VAT, you render service tax, you enter from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu, first e-waybill, second entry tax. Correct? So if you want to go to a movie, entertainment tax. Santosh is throwing a party in Goa after marriage party. We go to a casino, betting tax. Correct? Correct? No, Santosh, you are aware of that, no? Right? So anything I do, I had to pay some tax or the other tax. Rates were completely different. Petrol in Karnataka, different rate. Petrol in Tamil Nadu, completely different rate. Correct? Car in Karnataka, different rate. Pondicherry, totally different rate. If you see all the commercial vehicles, Sharma Transport, VRL, their vehicle number will start with PY only, not with KA. The reason was that earlier there were a lot of benefits available if I register the vehicle in Pondicherry. Same country, but different rate of tax. So many taxes I have to remember. In CS syllabus also there were so many taxes. Too complex. So they said one of the objectives, they have written also, if you see, the objectives of introducing GST. One, to reduce the syllabus of CA students. Second, to reduce the number of taxes which the businessman has to follow. Right? So the basic objective was to reduce the number of taxes. Okay, so now you don't have central excise, now you don't have service tax, now you don't have VAT, now you don't have central sales tax, entertainment tax, betting tax, entry tax, all these goes. Okay, and you have a single tax called GST, clear, from 1st July 2017. The second reason why GST was introduced is very important. Like Anshuman was trying to say, I manufacture, say, what do I want to manufacture? I want to manufacture a laptop. Okay, so I buy a lot of commodities, okay, and I manufacture a laptop. Now, after manufacturing laptop, because I've manufactured, I have to pay excise duty on that. So if the value of the laptop is 1 lakh, I will pay excise duty at the rate of 12.5%. Typically, the excise duty rate was 12.5%. So I have paid 12,500 as excise duty. Now, after having manufactured that laptop, what do? I sell that laptop. When I'm selling the laptop, I am required to charge VAT on that. And VAT will be charged on what value? You know, it will be charged on 1 lakh plus 12,500 rupees. So on 1 lakh 12,500 rupees, I'll be paying 14.5%, which means I am paying VAT not just on the value added by me, but I am paying VAT on the value added by my sleeping partner government, which is called excise duty. So I end up paying 14.5% on the 12.5%. Okay, and so the product prices increases a lot. Also, I'll give you a very interesting example. Let's go to Excel. Okay, let's go to, I'll just share my screen. Give me a second. Is my screen visible?
No, sir.
It cannot be. Only your screen will be visible to you. My screen you cannot see. I'll be cracking some bad jokes also in between. Now is my screen shared?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So let's take an example where there is Reliance, okay, who is manufacturing a product. Can you give me an example of any product which we want Reliance to manufacture? Any product?
Lot.
Sorry?
Lot.
No, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Lots.
Lot.
Fabric.
Clothes, shirts, and pants.
Clothes. Okay. I'm sorry. Clothes. Okay. So they are manufacturing clothes. Very easy. Good example, actually. So manufacturing of clothes requires a lot of processes. So what are the processes? First, there'll be farmer. Okay. He will grow cotton. Okay. Then cotton is converted to yarn. Yarn is converted to color yarn. So it is dyed. Okay. And after that, it is stitched into a fabric. And from fabric, it is converted to a shirt by stitching. Then after that, packaging. Right. And after that,
transport.
Wholesaler. Then retailer. And then end customer. These are few processes involved in manufacturing a shirt. Now, assuming we have, see, this is anyways tax-free. This is also almost tax-free. Our example, we'll assume it to be tax-free. Okay. These are the products which are liable to tax. These are the processes which are liable to tax. Okay. Now, assuming this is done in Bangalore, this is done in Chennai, and this is done in Gujarat. Okay, by a small manufacturing company. Okay, and he's selling it in Gujarat. So all this is being sold in Gujarat. All right. So this is small scale industry, and this is Reliance. Okay, now Reliance, the entire thing is done in Gujarat. Okay, now let's understand how the pre-GST taxation will work and how the post-GST taxation will work. We are not bothered till dying. At the stage of dying, the product is worth 100 rupees. Okay, now converting dye to fabric is at 10 rupees. Okay, including the profit. So it is 110 rupees. On this, because from Bangalore the metal is going to Chennai. Okay, so this will be dyed fabric, add process plus profit, right? It is 110. So this will become fabric, add CST, because I'm sorry, not CGST, CST, because from Bangalore it is moving to Chennai. Correct? The rate of tax was only 2%. If you can give Form C, the rate of tax was only 2%. That's all. Okay. Now, what is the CST rate? 2.2%. Okay. Now, what is the landed price for Chennai? It is 110 plus 2.2. Correct? Agreed, everyone? Okay. Now, from Chennai, it will get stitched to a shirt. So, add process plus profit. Now, here is where the highest value addition will be there, because there'll be buttons, there'll be shirt, there'll be patterns, there'll be fashion designing, so many things. So we will add a value of say 350 rupees. How did I get it? Just a random number. Okay. So now I get a finished shirt. What is the price of the finished shirt for me? 462. Now to this, I add CST again, because it has to go to Gujarat. How much is the CST percentage? Again, it is only 2% because it is for sale. Okay. So what is the landed price for Gujarat now? It is 471.444. Okay. Now when I sell to the end customer, I will charge VAT, because the end customer is also in Gujarat and I am also in Gujarat. And there the rate of tax is say 5.5. We will take it as 5.5%. Okay. So then what is the final price to the customer? The final price to customer is 497.3734. Do you agree? And CST is included in the cost, because you cannot take the credit of CST. That time when CST was there, you could not take the credit of the CST. Okay. Now, assuming this entire process is done by Reliance, 100 rupees plus 10 rupees, they want to add the same margin. The value of the fabric will be 110. But because they are manufacturing on their own, no CST, because there is no sale at all. Correct? Now they add their processing fee, 350. The value of the finished shirt for them is, I'm sorry, yeah, 460 instead of 462.2. Okay. Now again there is no CST, so there is landed price of 460 only. Now here, when they sell to the customer, okay, so the earlier the rate of GST was 5, which has been increased to 12. We are not talking about GST, we are talking about sales tax only. Now when they sell it to the customer, they will charge a VAT of 5.5%. Now look at the price. Reliance will be able to sell at 485.3, whereas I will be selling at 497.37, a difference of 12 rupees, which is nothing but 2.2 rupees plus 2% on 2.2 rupees plus 5.5% on 2 rupees, 2.2 rupees, and 9.2 plus 5.5% on 9.2. Correct? So the earlier regime did not encourage small scale manufacturers, because at every point they had to pay tax, and that tax was not creditable. Now come to GST. This is pre-GST. Okay. Now come to GST. What happens? Let's understand the same example. Now 100, 10, 110. Now we are talking about GST. GST could be as high as 12%, 18%. We will take 18% only. Okay. But the landed price will not be 110 plus 19.8. Because now the person can claim the credit. So his landed price is only 110. 19.8 is sitting on the asset side of the balance sheet, that whenever a liability comes in, I will set it off against the input tax credit. Correct? Now CST again, I will pay 18%, but my landed cost will be minus the tax. So it is 460. Now I will add 18% tax, assuming, or there is a 12% tax actually, not 18%, right? So it is 515.2 rupees, or we will take 5% because earlier when GST was introduced, the rate of tax was 5 only. So 23 rupees is the final tax I am going to pay. Okay. Now this is true whether it is a small scale industry or it is a large scale industry, the pricing will remain the same. Because if you observe here, I'll just change it here also. If you observe, here I don't pay the tax. And here, even if I pay the tax, I claim the input tax credit. So a level playing field is created both for small scale industries and large scale industries. That is one of the biggest advantages of GST. You're able to follow? Let's understand what is this input tax credit. What is this input tax credit? What is input tax credit? Now, assuming you want to buy a phone on Paytm, don't buy their shares, okay? Buy only phone. Whoever has purchased shares have now are waiting for, they got only the cashback money. They did not get the main product only. Anshuman, you invested a full loss. I touched the raw nerve in the morning. Okay. No, Paytm is a cashback company. They had told you will get cashback. Cashback is how much? 10%, 20%. That you got now. Correct now, right? Okay. So a little better only now. 25% easily you've got 25, 30%. So good cashback you got. Okay. So now on Paytm, you want to buy a phone. What will they say? You buy a phone of 1,00,000 of rupees. You pay me 1,00,000 of rupees. Okay. I will give you a cashback of 20,000 rupees after you have purchased and after the period of returning the phone, that window of returning the phone is closed. After that, I will credit 20,000 to your bank account. And where can you use this money, Mr. Murli? You can use this money to buy some other product tomorrow. To the extent of 20,000 rupees, you can buy anything on their platform. Correct? No. So tomorrow you want to buy a laptop worth 1,00,000 rupees. 20,000 will be through this cashback credit to your account and 80,000 will be through your cash or through your card. Correct? No. Right? So Paytm is only giving you cashback, which means they are saying you pay 1,00,000 at the first instance. Whenever in future you are required to make the payment, I will reduce that amount by the cashback I have paid to you, 20,000 rupees. This is exactly what is input tax credit. What is input tax credit? Assuming that you are in the business of mobile phones. You purchased the phone at 1,00,000 rupees. How much money did you pay to your vendor? 1,00,000 only you have paid. Correct. But what is your cost? In the iPhone example, what was your cost of iPhone? You paid 1,00,000, but what is your cost? You will tell all your friends, hey, I bought this at 80,000 only. Unless you want to show off, that time you will say you bought it at 1.5 lakh rupees. We are not talking about that. We are saying I got an excellent deal. I bought it at 80,000 rupees. Plus I bought it through HDFC credit card. So some reward points, 15x was there. That also I bought. This also I did. Finally, 60,000 I bought. Now I will put it as business expenditure. I will get income tax deduction also. Okay. So finally, the cost of the phone is 30,000 rupees. You will work the math in such a way that as if somebody has paid you money for buying the phone also. Okay. We'll not get into all that. Very simple example. If somebody says, how much did you pay for this phone? You will say, I bought it at 80,000. Correct, Navidya? Is my understanding right? Perfect. Okay. So I bought this phone at 80,000 rupees. But you paid 1,00,000 rupees now. I might have paid 1,00,000 rupees, but 20,000 is given to me as a discount for any future purchases. So effectively, though the cash flow is 1,00,000, my cost is only 80,000 for that phone. Likewise, if you are buying a phone, okay, as a dealer, okay, you paid 1,00,000 to your vendor. On the invoice also, the amount payable by you was 1,00,000 only. Correct. But that 1,00,000 is broken up into 80,000 cost of phone, 20,000 GST. Now, when you are going to sell that phone, because you are a dealer, when you are going to sell that phone, you will sell it at 1,50,000, assuming that much margin is not there. If that would have been there, you would not have been sitting here in the class reading CA course, and I would not be sitting here and teaching you CA. Both of us would be having competition store. At least if you are in Bangalore, in Gandhi Bazaar, both of us would have store next to each other. Yours will be Sangeeta, mine will be Purvika. Correct? No, right? That much margin is not there. So assuming you are able to sell that phone at 1,50,000 to your customer, you will raise an invoice now on your customer saying value of the phone 1,20,000 and GST on that 30,000, and you will collect 30,000 from him as tax apart from 1,20,000, which is the value of the phone. Now, what will you do with the 30,000 rupees? That is the money you have collected on behalf of the government, right? You will collect the 30,000, but when you have to pay to the government, you will say, I already paid 20,000 to you. So reduce from the 30,000 that 20,000. I will pay you only 10,000 rupees. That means somebody is compensating you for the GST you have already paid. That means the GST already paid by you is not your cost. It will sit as an asset on the asset side of the balance sheet. Is this correct or not? Right? So when you talk about input tax credit, it means government is giving you cash back, right? Which can be set off against a future output tax liability or a future purchase which you are going to make if you are talking about Paytm. Is this clear? Right? Input tax credit is the backbone of GST. Whichever topic I will discuss now, I will say this is the most important topic. This is the backbone of GST. But truly, GST, the backbone is input tax credit only. If not for input tax credit, nobody would have agreed for introduction of GST. Is this clear? So why was GST introduced? One, because there were multiple taxes, and second, because there was cascading effect of taxes. How have they addressed that? One, they have replaced all the taxes with GST, and second, to address the cascading effect, they introduced something called as an input tax credit. Clear? Okay. Now you have seen our, you have all studied school. I'm assuming fair assumption. Correct? No? Whether you will read GST regularly or not, the fair assumption is that you have completed your schooling. Correct? Okay. In school, in social, we had one small paper, 10 marks paper. History, geography, and
Civics.
Political.
Civics, when I was a student, it was called civics. Now I don't know what it is called. Okay. So we had civics of 10 marks in our school, right? And we used to always forget reading that, because 10 marks, it is important to learn when did Muhammad Ghazni come to India. It is important to learn which all countries the equator is touching. Correct? Which countries are tropical countries, which countries are not tropical countries. All that was important, which was running in our mind. Why will we read civics? Okay. But in that civics 10 marks, the most important topic was Constitution of India. If you look at the Constitution of India, how it works is, states have also been given powers, center has also been given powers, right? There is state, there is center. State also has got the powers, center has also got the powers. So some taxes were being collected by the state, some taxes were collected by the center. And it's not just about taxes, lot of other aspects. National highway, center will control. State highways, God only, because state government is not controlling. Correct? So they have bifurcated the responsibility. See, because in Vedanta only, outside Vedanta only, they say government's work is God's work. So everybody is given up. Let the God do. No, it is God's work. Why should I do? Correct. So all the responsibilities of running the country has been bifurcated between center and the state. Center will do some work, state will do some work. If you go to the 7th schedule of the Constitution, you will find 3 lists there: union list, state list, and concurrent list. When you say union list, the powers are with the center. When you say state list, the powers are with the state. And when you say concurrent list, both of them will fight. Nobody will do the work, but both of them will fight. Correct? So that is how the powers have been bifurcated. So if you observe the union list, it says power to levy income tax is with the central government. And that is why we have Income Tax Act 1961 and not Karnataka Income Tax Act 1961. But power to levy taxes on sale of goods is with the state. That is why we had Karnataka value added tax, Tamil Nadu value added tax, and Gujarat value added tax. But we never had Indian value added tax. Clear? Now, can you tell me something? Why is, just off the topic, why is there no income tax on agricultural income? Any idea?
Constitution framers itself excluded, sir.
Yeah, very good. See, the reason is not that, sir, in civics only we read, sir, 60% of our economy is on agriculture. Agriculture is the mainstay, this, that, everything. No. If you look at the Constitution of India very clearly says central government has got the powers to levy taxes on income other than agricultural income. That means the central government does not have powers to levy tax on agricultural income. It is not that they did not want to levy tax. They do not have powers. In fact, if you go to the state list says taxes on agricultural income. That means there is a Karnataka Income Tax on Agriculture Act where they are collecting tax, peanuts, small amount they are collecting, but it is a state subject, not a central subject. And that is why you have 10(1) of the Income Tax Act, which says that there will be no taxes on agricultural income. Clear? So it is not that they wanted to give exemption, but because the Constitution does not allow government to levy tax, central government to levy taxes. Okay. So now let's look at these entries. What had happened? There are some entries where the center can levy tax. There are some entries where state can levy tax. So excise duty, center can levy. Service tax, center can levy. But sale of goods, state could levy. If they had to introduce GST, where tax is no longer on manufacture, tax is no longer on services, tax is no longer on state sales, but on a new concept called supply, there was a requirement to amend the entire constitution. Because constitution did not allow central government to levy tax on sale or did not allow state government to levy taxes on the services. So what they did, they had to amend the entire constitution. So Constitution Amendment Bill 101 was issued to amend a lot of provisions of the Constitution of India to ensure that power is given to the center to levy taxes on sale of goods and power is given to the state to levy taxes on rendering of services. But here there is a problem. Everybody wants power. Even in our class, we want power. Okay, why are we studying CA? Because knowledge is power, and when we get that knowledge, we will be able to command respect and earn money. Everybody wants power. Political parties are known for power. Okay, so now the political parties said, look, who will levy the tax now? Center said, I will levy the tax. 50% I will give it to you. State said, I don't want all these things. I want an equal right that I can also levy tax, and if Kashmir file comes, I can also exempt the tax. So I want that power. I don't want you to pay money to me. I will also collect the money and I will decide where I don't want to collect the money. Correct? So I can also give exemption and I can also levy tax. So don't give me 50%. I don't want 50%. I want power to levy the 50%. So where the idea was to levy only a single tax of GST, it became a dual tax. Right? So now if you see the invoice, you will find on the same invoice CGST 9%, SGST 9%. That means central government is getting the 9% of the tax. They are levying and getting 9% tax. The state is levying and getting 9% of the tax, which also means that we are not talking about one GST Act. We are talking about CGST and Karnataka GST Act. We are talking about CGST and Tamil Nadu GST Act. Right? So we are talking about multiple taxes here. We are not talking about single tax. Right? Okay. But now the problem was that, okay, there is a CGST, there is a SGST. But does that mean that center can bring in any law what they want and state can bring any law what they want? Is it possible? If it were possible, then what will happen? Same thing again. We are working in a similar VAT concept where in Karnataka, a particular product will be available at 18%, 9 to C and 9 to S. And in Tamil Nadu, the same product will be at 15%, 9 to C and 6 to S. Okay. Or Karnataka will say that I want the returns in Kannada. Tamil Nadu will say I want the returns in Tamil. Right? Everybody would have framed the laws the way they wanted to. There the central government said, I'm giving you power, but we will have to exercise it together. So it cannot be in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha where only center has the power, or it cannot be Vidhan Sabha where state has the power. Let us create another body. And that is where GST Council was born. They said, let's discuss what amendments are required to be made in GST in the GST Council. Then whatever amendments are to be made by the central government, it will go to Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Whatever the states have to make the amendment, will go to Vidhan Sabha. Right? So let's create a common body. Nothing but, where is our friend Santosh? Santosh has escaped. Okay. So if our friend Santosh wants to give us a party, for coordinating the parties, he will create a WhatsApp group and he will say, let's leave at 6 o'clock. Vidya will say 6, too early, no? So then he will say, okay, let's leave at 7. So Sanjay will say, 7 now, too late, no? On road, full traffic will be there. Mutually, all of us in that WhatsApp group will decide, okay, 6:30 is a good time. Correct? That WhatsApp group, now all the finance minister cannot have WhatsApp group. Correct? Right? So they created a group called GST Council. That's all. So our WhatsApp group to discuss what we are supposed to do is called GST Council. Now, who are the members of the GST Council? In our Santosh's group, who will be the participant? Only people who are going to Goa, no? Our parents cannot be part of it, no? Then Santosh will say, let's go to casino. Our parent will say, get lost. And they'll say, Santosh only removed from that group. Correct, no? So our parents, our uncles, our cousins, our siblings, they cannot be part of this group. Only people who are going to get impacted are required to be part of this group. So who are part of the GST Council? The finance ministers of the state and the finance minister of the center are part of this WhatsApp group. They can have advisors around them. Okay, so we also consult with our parents. Can I go to Goa? That's all. Their answer is not binding. If you want, we will go only. Okay, only funding problem, dad will have to ask. Right? So they can have their advisors. But who are the people who are present there? Are the finance ministers of the state and the finance minister of the center. Okay. Now India is a democratic country. So everything is by way of majority. So here also they decided if there is any dispute, then we will decide based on majority. Is this clear? So if there is any dispute, we'll decide based on majority. Now I'll require some visual aid to explain something to you. Let me find something. I have something. This is whole of India. Okay. Where is Daman and Diu here? Can you see this? That's the point. Daman and Diu will get equal voting right, equal to India, the whole of India. Correct? They said, no, 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 this is not proper. Daman and Diu, Goa or Pondicherry, Delhi, for that matter, Karnataka, Maharashtra, however big you might be, but you are smaller than whole of India. So my one vote cannot be equal to your one vote, is what center told. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's have a weighted vote. Now, what is a weighted vote? If I vote in acceptance of a proposal or non-acceptance of a proposal, that will carry the weight of 33.33333333%. That means whatever I vote, 1/3 majority is already received for that. Okay, all of you put together will be 66.666666% vote, which is 2/3. Okay, so now if we have to decide anything on majority, minimum voting should be 75%. Look at this, amazing, no? Minimum majority should be 75%, because that means for everything there has to be a special resolution only. It cannot be a general resolution under company law, right? Everything has to be a special resolution. Okay, now assuming center is BJP, all the states are Congress. Okay, whatever BJP says, Congress will oppose, not because it is good or bad, but because as a principle, that is the job of the opposition. Correct? So center says yes, 33% done. All the states says no, 66% down. Is the majority achieved? No. What is the majority? 75%. Reverse. Okay. Center says no, 33% down. All the states says yes, 66% down. Is the majority achieved? No. So for the majority to be achieved, central government has to be there. Without central government, no majority can be achieved. Plus, few states have to be there to ensure that the total number of weighted votes crosses 75%. So that is how the GST Council functions. So whenever a proposal is made, or if the traders are not happy, they will go to MG Road, and next to the Mahatma Gandhi statue, they will protest. So then the government will know that people have problem. They will take the representation. It will go to the GST Council. GST Council will fight, abuse each other. They'll say, what did you do in Vidhan Sabha? What did you do in Kashmir? What did you do this? All that they will fight, which we will never get to know because it is in their private WhatsApp group. Okay. Finally, they will come in proper tie, proper lungi after the meeting and say, we have collectively decided in the interest of the country to amend this law. In whose interest we don't know, but they will collectively make the statement. And once that statement is made, the bill will be passed to Lok Sabha to Rajya Sabha to President. Okay. Likewise, Karnataka will get the bill, pass it in Vidhan Sabha. They will take all the MLAs to the resort. They will say, please vote. They will vote, come back to Vidhan Sabha, and that will get passed. But again, the problem is there will be Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and the President. That will take 3 to 4 months time. In the 3 to 4 months time, Uttar Pradesh will be having elections. Correct. So the Lok Sabha is not formed at all. And by the time UP Lok Sabha, what you say, Chief Minister or the cabinet is formed, there will be some other state which will have election. So what they have done is they have said all of us will pass the law, but we will not implement the law. Again, in our WhatsApp group, privately we will say, can we implement the law? Everybody give thumbs up. So all the state finance minister will tell thumbs up to Santosh. Can we agree on 6:30 to Santosh? Then everybody gets thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, so they will issue a notification which will say all the amendments relating to this GST Council meeting, 44 GST Council meeting, will be applicable from 1st May 2022. So everybody will issue that notification together. And from that day, the CGST Act is also amended, the SGST Act is also amended. Both will go parallelly. You're able to follow? Right? And that is how we can ensure, or the government has ensured, that the CGST Act and the SGST Act will go together. It will not undergo any change differently. Certain exceptions have been given. Like if you want to give an exemption to a movie, classic case is this movie only of Kashmir Files, okay? Then you ask the trader to pay the tax. See, because in GST returns, one typical, one is the GST law, one is officer's law, one is GST portal law. GST portal will be completely different. And what is the most binding is the GST portal. We don't have to listen to anybody. So GST portal is not allowing. Okay, whatever it allows, like that only you have to file. Correct, no? So GST portal, if you mention some amount in CGST, automatically same amount will come in SGST. You cannot change it. So now if an exemption is given to Kashmir file, the theater owner will not collect the Karnataka GST. But when he's filing the return, automatically SGST will come. What to do now? So they said, okay, you pay first. I'm giving you exemption. You pay the SGST first, then you come back to me. I will give you a refund of that. Clear? So to that extent, flexibility, little flexibility is given to the state, saying if you want to forgo your right to not collect the tax, not in GST. That exemption notification also was not issued in GST. It was outside GST. That means state have got their funds. They are deciding, I don't want the funds, I want to distribute the funds. It cannot be a GST notification. If it is a GST notification, then tomorrow Tamil Nadu will say, I don't want to charge tax at 9%. I want to levy tax at 6% only. Or I want to levy at 15%. What will we do? Right. So it cannot be a GST notification. Everything has to be decided by the GST council only. You guys are able to follow? Okay. Now, again, the problem was GST is a destination-based consumption tax. We have heard about this quite a lot. Okay. There are two things which we would have learned. Read, whether learned or not, I don't know. Seamless flow of credit and destination-based consumption tax. What is the meaning? Don't know. Impact and incidence on different person like that. Don't know what it is, but yeah, making sense. So what is this destination-based consumption tax? Very simple. I am in Bangalore. Okay, I manufacture a car in Bidadi, Toyota. Okay, I manufacture a car, and this car is sold to a customer who is in Chennai. Okay, who will get the tax? The CGST and the SGST. CGST, of course, will go to the center. But the SGST portion, who will get the tax? Should it go to Karnataka government or Tamil Nadu government? Or we will not ask should. Where will it go today?
Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu. Why Tamil Nadu? Because the way GST has been designed, the tax will flow to the state where the goods are getting consumed. Where is this car getting consumed?
Chennai.
Chennai, which is Tamil Nadu, correct? So the what you said, tax also will go to Tamil Nadu only. Right? Though the car is manufactured in Karnataka, though it is using all the resources of Karnataka, though all the labors of Karnataka have been engaged in the process of manufacturing the car, but because the goods, that is the car, has been consumed in Tamil Nadu, the tax will go to Tamil Nadu. But what was happening before GST? The same example, the car was manufactured in Karnataka, going to Tamil Nadu. Karnataka government was getting CST. So though CST was levied by the center, it was collected by the state government from where the goods originated. So earlier we were under origin-based tax. Where the goods are originating, that state will get the revenue. In GST, we are in destination-based tax. That means the state where we consume is required to collect the money, is required to get that money. The reason why we shifted from origin-based to destination-based is two reasons. One, the place where the product is getting consumed, that state should get the money because that state has created economic activity that the person can buy that car. So that state should get compensated or should get motivated. Okay, that is one. And practically also, let's take an example. Okay, I am in Karnataka and forget about this IGST. Okay, I am in Karnataka and I want to sell some goods in Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu. Okay, so I have a branch there in Tamil Nadu. Now I purchase these goods in Karnataka. What will the vendor charge me?
CGST Karnataka.
CGST and Karnataka GST. Correct? I stock transferred those goods to my branch in Tamil Nadu. Okay. Now I want to sell the goods to my customer who is in Tamil Nadu. What is the output I am going to pay?
CGST Tamil Nadu.
CGST and Tamil Nadu GST. Are all of you in agreement on this? Okay. So now what is my input? CGST and Karnataka GST. What is my output? CGST and Tamil Nadu GST. Agreed? Okay. When I pay my output tax, which is CGST and Tamil Nadu GST, can I adjust it against my input tax credit, which is CGST and Karnataka GST? Forget center. There is a controversy on that. Can the output of Tamil Nadu be set off against input of Karnataka?
Yes, sir.
Can the amount sitting in Flipkart be used for shopping on Amazon?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Not possible. There are two different authorities. If you have deposited the money in Flipkart, you can use it only for purchase on Flipkart. If you have deposited money in your Amazon wallet, you can use it only for purchase on Amazon. So if you have input credit in Karnataka, you can use it against output of Karnataka. If you have an output in Tamil Nadu, you can utilize or set it off against the input credit credited by to you or generated by you in Tamil Nadu. Correct? So now that became a big issue in GST, that I will not be able to set off Tamil Nadu output against Karnataka input. So government said, let it be a destination-based consumption tax. When it is a destination-based consumption tax, my input of CGST and Karnataka GST, whenever I sell the goods, will become output. I have to pay output because goods are going outside the state. And when there is an output, that output of the Karnataka dealer will become input of the Tamil Nadu dealer. Now Tamil Nadu dealer will be able to claim the credit because now his output is CGST and Tamil Nadu GST, and input no longer is CGST and Karnataka GST. It is CGST and Tamil Nadu GST or IGST. Correct? That is the reason why the government had to move the taxes from origin-based tax to destination-based consumption tax. Is this clear? Okay. Again, a problem. What is the problem? Maharashtra government, Gujarat government, and to a certain extent Karnataka government said, sir, we constructed roads, we gave free electricity, we gave free land, we reduced the stamp duty so that people can come in our state, okay, set up a plant and manufacture products, because when they manufacture and sell it to some other state, I will get the money. Okay, because earlier it was origin-based tax. Now suddenly for all the investment I have made, you are saying I will not get the money, some other state will get the money. How is it logical? Okay, so when the first draft of GST was introduced, the states which happily agreed to GST were Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Orissa, where the economic activity unfortunately is low, but the consumption very high. And the states which rejected GST were Maharashtra, Gujarat, imagine Haryana and Punjab. They produce wheat and rice for the whole of India. They keep drinking only liquor, but they produce wheat and rice and they don't consume that at all. Okay, no tax at all for them. Everything will be swaha, zero. Correct? So then the government said, okay, I understand your problem, that you will lose some amount of revenue. So let's do one thing, okay? So GST was supposed to be introduced in 2005-06. When I wrote my CA exams only, GST was supposed to come. Okay, now when you are writing CA exams, GST has come. Okay, so GST was supposed to come in 15-16 actually. Okay, so what government did, they said, okay, we will do one thing, we'll do a simple exercise. We will take the financial year 15-16 as the base. Okay, how much money have you earned? I will send you one Google form link. You upload your revenue. Okay, upload the budget documents basically. So that is lock kiya jaye. That is the amount of money you have earned in 15-16. What will we do now is, once the GST is introduced, okay, every year the revenue has been increasing. So last 10 years we have done a study. Generally the tax revenues increase by 14%. Okay, on an average, whole of India. So whatever is your revenue in 15-16, we will keep adding 14% to it. So if you're talking about 16-17, your income should have been, if your income in the last year was 100, it should be 114. Next year will be 114 into 114%. Likewise, it should keep on increasing. Okay, so what we will do is, once the GST is introduced, okay, we will add this 14% and see if you have earned that much amount of GST or not. So assuming in the first year you were supposed to earn 114. If you earn 107, I will pay you the balance 7 rupees. Okay, but if you earn 120, don't give me back. Enjoy. That extra money is yours. But if there is any shortfall, you come back crying to me with the workings, and I will give you the differential amount. Clear? So government told Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, don't cry. If you have any loss, I will compensate you. For how many years? 5 years I will compensate you. Okay, but I believe that GST rates will be a little high. Number of taxpayers who will come will be a little more. Okay, you may not get direct income, but indirect income in the form of the laborers who are manufacturing car are in Karnataka only, no? So they will buy something. That GST is anyways coming to you only, no? So you will not have a loss. So 5 years we will compensate you this way. But now government thought, I will compensate them. Who will compensate me? How will I get the money? Correct. So they said, okay, let us go to the taxpayers only. So we will introduce something called as a compensation cess. Right. Now, what is this compensation cess? Compensation cess is the amount collected from all of us. Okay. Put it in a pool. So whenever a state comes crying that 100 plus 14% is not the revenue what I have earned. I have earned less than that. Please give me money. Central government will use this compensation fund to compensate those states who have lost revenue because of introduction of GST. Is this clear? So on car, on tobacco, and on cool drinks, these are the primary products on which compensation cess is levied. So on these three products, the compensation cess was introduced, and whatever is collected goes in a separate fund. It does not go to consolidated funds of India. It goes as a separate fund. And based on that, the money is getting released to each of the states. Is this clear? So now we are able to relate to why a compensation cess was introduced. Okay. Okay. Now it did not stop here. When did the GST get launched? 1718. 1718, things were going smooth. 1819, things were going smooth. 1920, things were going smooth. 2021, the 4th year of GST, what happened? COVID. So now, see, 100 into 14%, 4 times. That was the revenue they had to make in the 4th year. But revenue was how much? Zero. Right? Or very, very low. So now all the state finance ministers said, sir, you remember that meeting? You had told 15, 16 we will take the base, then add 14. On that 114 we will add 14. On that 114 and 14 we will add 14. And for 5 years, 4th year, our revenue is less. Please give us money using the compensation cess. Now the finance minister from Arun Jaitley is Nirmala Sitharaman. They said, welcome, welcome, please have a seat, please have a seat. Sit down, please give your calculations. They all gave calculations thinking they'll get money. Now Nirmala Sitharaman said, why did you lose the money? Why you did not get your revenue targets? They said, because of COVID. Then I had told you that I will compensate your loss because of implementation of GST. Why have you lost money? Because of COVID. If you would not have introduced GST, still you would have earned this loss. Correct or not? Why should I compensate you for that? I only wanted to give you a transition scheme where if you lose anything because of my assurance of GST, I will compensate you. This loss is not because of GST, it is act of God. Right? So file a case against God. Don't file a case against me. I am not going to compensate you. Clear? The second part, of course, what we are discussing about this act of God and COVID and all is not relevant for our examination, but we should be aware of it because we are CA students now. Okay, final CA students. The course itself is finally you are a student now, right? So now you should be aware of all these things. Clear everyone? Right? Okay. So what have we discussed today? We understood that there is nothing called as a direct tax or an indirect tax. Correct. So direct tax answers we can write in indirect tax answers we can write in direct tax. Section 37(1) of the Income Tax Act can be interchangeably used in indirect taxes also. All that we have not learned. we have still learned that for the purpose of CA, there are two parts to the law. One is direct tax, one faculty will handle. I have to answer those questions in a particular way. There is another indirect tax laws where there are two faculties who will teach indirect taxes and I have to answer that in a particular way. Clear? Okay. Then we learned why GST was introduced. Why was GST introduced? GST was introduced mainly. There are so many other factors. We'll discuss that in the next class. Mainly because there were multiple taxes and there was a cascading effect of taxes. Okay. How was the GST introduced? First, the Constitution Amendment Bill was introduced to allow center and the states to levy taxes where they were denied the taxes earlier because of the current state and the central list. Okay, so the center and the state list was amended, and also a lot of constitutional articles were amended to allow the states and the center to levy or introduce GST. Second, because there could have been an issue between the management of amendments in taxes or amendment in the procedure, a GST council was set up. Correct. Third, to ensure that the states are compensated if there is any loss because of implementation of GST, a GST compensation cess was introduced. Clear? What are some of the fundamental features of GST? The fundamental features are seamless flow of credit. That means you will get input tax credit on anything and everything. Just look at the earlier case. If I'm shopper stop, if I purchase garment, I have to pay VAT. Okay. If my major cost is real estate, that is renting, because my shop is next to Forum, correct, in Koramangala, right? So I have to pay huge amount of rent that is going to the central government. Now, when I sell my garments, the output is state VAT. My output is state VAT, input is central service tax. I could not set it off, right? But once GST is introduced, my input is CGST, SGST, output is CGST and SGST, I can set off. So seamless flow of credit is allowed, whether it is goods or services, I will get credit on everything, right? Second, GST is a destination-based consumption tax, which means the state where the goods are consumed, that state has the right to retain that tax. I will not say collect because collection has already happened. He has a right to retain that tax, and only that state has got powers to use that money to scam the citizens of that state. That is the power. Only they can scam, nobody else. So if the consumption is happening in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka cannot use that money to scam the people. Only Tamil Nadu has the right. Is this clear? Okay. Anything relating to today's class where you have a doubt other than is there any procedure to change the faculty? Apart from that, is there any doubt you have? No? We have 3 more minutes if you have anything. Otherwise, we will discuss something more. No? Okay. So another thing which we have to remember is when the origin of the transaction and the termination of the transaction is in the same state, the tax which will apply is CGST and SGST. But when the origin is in one state, but the termination is in another state, it will be liable to IGST. Let's take an example. Okay. I have a store in Banashankari BDA complex. Where is it? Bangalore, Karnataka. Correct? No, Anshuman is not aware. Anshuman, you are from where? Nagpur, Mount Carmel College, next to that.
Yes, sir.
Correct. You only told ICI has Mount Carmel College next to it.
So ICI, I don't stay at ICI, you know.
Sorry?
I don't stay at ICI, you know.
Somewhere close to that? No?
Around 5 kilometers from ICI.
Bad for you. Mount Carmel College is the best destination in Bangalore. You could have also stayed there only in Nagpur. Right.
Maybe.
Okay. Right. So I have a store in Banashankari. Okay. A person walks into my store and buys t-shirts from me. Where is the transaction originated? Banashankari BDA complex. Where is the transaction terminated? Banashankari BDA complex. Both of us are in Karnataka. So what will I charge him? CGST and Karnataka GST. Okay. Now Anshuman says, sir, in Mount Carmel College there is a fest. I want some hip hop jing jang t-shirts. I want. Can you send some 20 t-shirts? Okay. Every 10 minutes I'll change the t-shirts. Okay. So now the transaction is originating from Banshankari BDA complex and terminating in Nagpur. Okay, so it is different states. It will be a IGST transaction. Clear? So we have multiple taxes now: CGST, SGST, IGST, compensation cess. Clear? So a single transaction might be liable to either CGST, SGST, might be liable to IGST, and depending on what the product is, it will be liable to compensation cess as well. Right? Okay. That's all for today. We will meet very soon in the next class. 8:31, right? Okay. Abhimanyu, I have a couple of minutes. Quickly, others can leave if they want to. Quickly, you had some doubt on adjudicating authority. You can ask me quickly and I'll answer that. I think Abhimanyu is not there. Sure.
No, sir. Is it renamed as GST applied to Vinala or Gst Act only? It is there, sir.
No, earlier it was Sestat. So even today for customs, it will be Sestat only. But for the purpose of GST, it will be GST 80.
Yes, got it, sir.
Right?
Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a great time ahead.
Thank you. Wish you the same, guys.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.